Hello, everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible. Okay. Please let me know in the chat if I'm audible. All right. Let's get started with today's class. So, today is the first session of IGCSE Global Perspective Power Batch. This is going to be our first class for the year 2026, wherein we are starting a new batch for all the students who will be appearing for IGCSE Global Perspective examination in 2027. So I have named this batch as a power batch because the reason being we are going to make sure all the consistent, honest, and sincere participants, or rather the learners who join these sessions every Tuesday, 6 p.m., get an A star in your IGCSE Global Perspective. So that is going to be your goal to join this live session, live class every Tuesday. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up quickly in the chat if you all are in? And I can see there are a few learners who have joined already. Let me know. Please tell me who you are, from which country you are, from which location you are, because yes, which year you will be appearing for Global Perspective IGCSE exam? Is it 2027? Okay. All right. So before I start my class, there are few things that I am going to, few rules for joining my classes, which I'm going to share on my screen right now. And along with that rule, I am also going to pin um, Okay, I'm also going to pin in the chat past paper class, making sure you all are ready to do really well or basically get an A star in IGCSE Global Perspective. Now let us go to the rules of my class. So there are certain class rules I always make sure my students follow, and these are the non-negotiable rules which you all have to follow. First is turn off all the distractions for the next 60 minutes. This class is going to be 60 minutes class. Secondly, please watch this class only on laptop or a tablet. In case if you have joined through phone today, it's okay. But going ahead, on coming Tuesday, please make sure you join these sessions through laptop or tab, because you need to take a lot of notes, you need to discuss, and phone is a major source of distraction for all of us. Third, ask lot of questions. I'll be tracking the question you ask. I'll be tracking what kind of engagement you all are creating in the chat with respect to global perspective lessons. Fourth, discuss. I will be asking you a lot of questions to understand where you are, whether we are building up on the required goal accordingly. And fifth one, take a lot of notes. So you have to obviously take quick notes and make sure you uh, do mind maps or different. So basically, in short, take notes. That is more important. Third, the sixth rule is complete assignments on GC. So I will be uploading. I will be uploading all the assignments. I had already uploaded assignment this Saturday. Okay, which is going to be pre-session, pre-class work, or rather assignment, which you have to complete before the class so that you get a track of what we are doing in the sessions. Okay, I hope I'm clear until here. Now we will move on to the next part, that is what are going to be the learning objectives for today's class. Okay, I got to know that my yeah. So let's go on to the learning objective for today's class. I So guys, it's going to lag a little bit. Even I am getting used to this platform, but you have to make sure that if you are not able to see my screen, whatever I'm speaking and whatever is shown up on the screen is not matching, let me know in the chat. So the learning objectives for today's class is going to be one, to understand global perspective assessment criterias. Two, to understand global perspective vocabulary. We are going to cover these 10 vocabularies today: analysis, analyze, argument, bias, cause, claim, consequence, context, corroboration, course of action, evaluation. Three, to apply global perspective vocabulary in exam scenario. Now, when I say apply, you should be able to understand, interpret what is given, and accordingly answer the questions in your exams. So, before we start, also understand what I'll be expecting from you all by the end of today's session. So, by the end of today's class, there are two very important tasks you all will be completing. One, I will be uploading practice global perspective exam questions using today's vocabulary, whatever vocabulary we are going to learn today, or understand how to apply those vocabulary in your exam. Same thing you have to practice. I'll be uploading a worksheet on Google Classroom. Now, all those who couldn't join Google Classroom link, I will shortly just paste it here I'll pin it here in the chat so that you can join Google Classroom to access these assignments. Two, all the uploaded assignments will be discussed in Saturday's past paper practice sessions. Now, in case if you want to join, which will be again on YouTube channel only. So if you want to join Saturday's past paper practice sessions, I will be pasting the link. I will be pinning the link in the chat again. Okay. So let me do these two things quickly so that all those who are wanting to join these sessions, and most importantly Google Classroom. So here we go. I have pasted the link for joining for accessing all the assignments in Google Classroom. It's here in the chat. This is your Google Classroom link, and the next link that I'm going to paste is Okay. Okay. The next link that I'm going to paste is for joining your Saturday's past paper classes, which will be again on YouTube. Okay, the second link is for the past paper classes. Okay. All right. Now, starting with this class for today. Um Here we go. So, quickly in the chat, type the number that best represent why you have chosen. Okay, there is a spelling error over here. Anyways, why you have chosen IGCSE Global Perspective, or why you chose IGCSE Global Perspective. First, it seemed easier than other subjects. If that is the answer, type 1. Two, I'm genuinely interested in the world issues. If that is what you feel, type 2. And 3, my school or my parents recommended it. If that's what you feel, type 3 in the chat so that I know my students well and I know what they think about this subject. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Now, whatever may be the reason why you have chosen this subject, you are here today to get an A star in global perspective if you're appearing for your IGCSE examination 2027. Okay. So why choose global perspective? Let's start with the basic. Why to do this subject? The first and the most important reason to do this subject is Cambridge Global Perspective gives learner the opportunity to think about significant global issues and consider these from different perspectives. Now, you might have a question how it is going to help me in life. Obviously, these skills can be used in your life, in your day-to-day life, but focusing on your exams, one, it will help you to also understand and answer other IGCSE subject because IGCSE focuses more on application based question and hence you will be able to understand different perspective. Two, it will help you to also build a great university profile for the top university um, you are targeting. Okay, we will be talking about it later in depth, but yes. Now, what are the skills to get an A star in IGCSE Global Perspective? That is what we will talk about. Now, there are basically five set of skills that is clearly also mentioned in your syllabus copy, which is researching, analyzing, evaluation of information. That is the first skill that you're expected to develop. Second skill to develop is developing and justifying a line of reasoning. Third skill is reflecting on processes and on own learning. Reflection is a very important skill that global perspective focuses on, and there are a lot of formulas, strategies, rule books, structures that we are going to learn with for this subject global perspective. Fourth skill is communicating information and reasoning. Fifth skill is collaborating to achieve a common outcome. Okay. Now, let me also clear one most frequently asked question by the student that whether this skill by global perspective is only for, is it same as English language? So the answer is no, it is not similar to English language. Rather, it requires specific type of structure in your answer more than the vocabulary, so it is not something which is similar to English language. Okay. Now we are going to understand how these skills will be assessed. So it has three major components. The first component is your written exam, which is 1 hour 25 minutes. It is in total 35. It carries 35% weightage for your global perspective subject, which is 70 marks. Now, written exam consists of 4 compulsory questions based on a range of sources provided with the question paper, and sources will present an issue of global significance from a range of different perspectives, personal, local, or a national, and will be on a topic from the topic list. Now, let me also clear one doubt, that it is not mandatory to learn all the topics given in the topic list. Global perspective assess skills rather than knowledge. So even if you do not know a lot about a specific topic, you should be still able to evaluate, analyze, and apply different skills that you have learned on the sources given in your question paper. Okay. Now the second component that we'll be doing is individual report, which carries 60 mark, which carries 60 mark and 30% of your global perspective paper. So candidates research a significant global issue of their choice from the topic list. They research a range of different perspectives, focusing on local, national, and global on the global issue, and reflect on their own personal perspective. Candidates devise their own title and write a report. It is as good as writing a good 1500 to 2000 word research paper, which carries a lot of weightage in your personal essay for universities. And it is going to be in continuous text. So it is internally set and externally marked. So you have to understand one simple thing: these 60 marks are completely in your hand, because you don't have that exam pressure. You can revise, you can submit various drafts, you can take feedbacks, and these 60 marks are 100% in your hand for global perspective. Now the third component is team project. When we talk about team project, it is a 70 mark question. Candidates works in team to choose from the topic list and identify a local issue. They devise and develop collaborative projects. So you work in a team with your school, with your classmates, and you devise and develop a collaborative project on an aspect of issue considered from a range of perspectives. Now, again, let me tell you, team project which carries 70 marks is completely in your hand, because you can revise, you can edit, you can take a feedback, again edit, and make sure you submit the best project to Cambridge. So if you look at it from this perspective, 60 marks of individual report and 70 marks for from team project, which is in total 130 marks, which is of significant weightage, is completely in your hand for global perspective. So yes, you can consider this subject as one of the subject which can help you uh, boost your overall IGCSE grades. Okay. Now, so team project comprises of 2 sections. One is team element, which is 25 mark, wherein each team produces one explanation of research planning and one evidence of action. Now understand one thing, that team element is a team document which will be same for all the 2, 3, 4, 5 members in the team. So it is, so if one child is getting, let's say, 18 marks out of 25, the other 4 will also get the same marks, which is 25 marks. Now, many a times it happens, we have this thought process, we are working in a team and we have a group of, let's say, 3 people, and we feel that one child, this one guy is not working, not putting in efforts, hence I should also not put in efforts. Please don't do that. It's okay if you are putting in efforts to make sure that you are doing a good job for yourself. You're not in competition with that one guy who is not putting in efforts. Let's say because of you, if that guy ends up scoring 5, 6, 7 marks extra without putting in efforts, it's absolutely okay. But it is crucially important for you to not lose those 7 marks, because those 7 marks, this team element is connected to this personal element which carries 45 marks, and every child is awarded marks separately for this element, which is your personal element. So each candidate writes a reflective paper on their research, their contribution to the team element, and their personal learning. So this reflective paper must be 750 to 1000 words, internally assessed and externally moderated. So it is assessed by your school teachers. So it's crucially important to make sure you get the right feedback, work on the feedback, and submit it on time. Many a time students end up submitting it last minute, they don't give it that much importance. So you will end up losing significant amount of marks if you don't follow deadlines. Okay. The next part is how many of you, okay, now let me quickly ask you a question. How many of you have completed the assignment up and uploaded on Google Classroom? Let me know in the chat quickly, because I had uploaded an assignment um, and I was expecting you all to submit and submit it. Okay. For all those who don't know where to join, I have already pasted the link in the chat for Google Classroom. What you can do is, if let me know if you can see the link in the Google Classroom. Okay. Okay, guys, I can see there are a couple of people. I don't know if there are a couple of students who are constantly leaving, joining. See, it is not a video. It is not an entertaining video that is being shown over here. It is a serious global perspective class which is happening right now. And if you have to switch off all the distractions and make sure you are on it, otherwise it is useless to waste these 1 hour on this class. It's a well thought, defined, significant class that's happening over here. So if I see constantly you are leaving and joining, or not many, a couple of people, so you are simply wasting your time. You are not going to earn any benefit out of this class. Okay. All right. So you guys can see, I hope you all can see in the chat that I have pasted both the links for global perspective assignments, Google Classroom. Just in case if you are not able to see, it's okay. We will still go ahead with the class. I will share it again once we reach the end of the class. All right. Now we are going to understand IGCSE Global Perspective vocabulary, and this was the task I had uploaded on Google Classroom. So what I had done is I had listed down all the vocabularies on a document which you use in IGCSE Global Perspective and asked you to write the exact Google definition for these vocabulary. Now today in class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, you already know the meaning of those words. What is the meaning of that word with in context with global perspective subject, and how you should interpret it, how it will look like once you execute the understanding of this word in global perspective. So, first word is analysis. So, analysis means breaking down complex global issues, perspectives, or sources into smaller parts to examine different viewpoints systematically, identify patterns, causes, and effects, evaluate the reliability and bias of source, compare and contrast different stakeholder positions, draw meaningful conclusions about global challenges. So that is the meaning of the word analysis. So if you look at the pointers given, these are the points you need to extract from the source. If you want to analyze, you need to examine different viewpoints, different perspective. Let's say one perspective from a person named as Alex, the second perspective from a girl named as Sarah. You have to identify what's the pattern, causes and effect. Maybe one is biased toward one issue, the other one is against it, somebody has vested interest. So analysis is basically deeply evaluating a point. Now let's look at one example. Analyze why young people might support online learning. I want you all to answer this in the chat. Why young people, okay, I'm just checking the chat if it's working. Yet it seems it's working. Analyze why young people might support online learning. Quickly try to write down I just want 2 3 sentences. I want to have a look at what kind of analysis you write. Hello, Sanvi Chabra. You can connect. For the guidance, you can check the messages. I will anyways paste the link. Amal, hi. You are there in the classroom. Did you upload the answer key? Did you solve and upload the work? Amal, I didn't see any of your work uploaded till today evening. Last I checked was around 4 o'clock. If not, please make sure don't take these classes lightly. These are not random YouTube videos. These are serious classes that is happening over here on YouTube channel. So please upload the report. Please upload the assignment on time. All those who are there. And Miss Sanvi, I would request you to please get connected with there are a lot of links shared, so you can do that. Anyways, I am expecting you all to share quickly. Amal, I am expecting your answer. You are there already in Google Classroom. You are quite responsive. I am waiting for your answer for this question. Analyze why young people might support online learning. Quickly, not more than 1 minute, guys. We have exactly 60 minutes to learn a lot of things. All right. Okay, good. So, see, when you are writing answer, when I say analysis, it means that first you have to talk about various perspective. Yes, Sanvi, Miss Sanvi, are messaging in between class. I'll get back to you later. You can just write a message in one of the any comment, and you can comment on this also. Me or my team will get back to you. Okay. So analyze why young people might support online learning. When we say analyze, you have to look at things from different perspectives. That is one, so that I can see a few people answering from that perspective. When I say analysis, yes, very good. And how to write causes in the Amal, please have patience. It is going to be a year-long class. I will be covering every single topic in global perspective. But for that, you need to make sure you join all the classes. You are putting in equal amount of efforts for the same. Yes. Okay. So now let's look at one sample answer that I have also shared. When we see analysis, look at the answer on my screen. Young people support online learning because they are comfortable with technology and find it convenient to study from home. So, see, one, it's giving why young people support, it's answering the question why. So, analysis breaks down the why. Two, they can learn at their own pace and access, yeah, they can learn at their own pace and access materials anytime which fits their busy life. Okay, and that talks about comfort with technology, convenience, flexibility, and lifestyle needs. So simply, whenever you get any analysis question, you have to just ask yourself, analyze why. So why, just list down all the pointers that comes in your mind with why, connect it. That is step number one. We are going to refine it even further, but let's first understand what are the basics. Okay. The next part, the next word which was there in your question, in your assignment was the word argument. So when I say argument, What does it mean? It is not fighting with two people fighting with each other. It means that presenting a clear position. This definition is with respect to global perspective only. The exact definition, I had given you a task to find out from Google what does it mean, Google definition of every word. Now these definitions I am talking about from global perspective only. Argument means presenting a clear position on a global issue with a main claim or a viewpoint, supporting evidence and reasoning, logical structure that builds your case, acknowledgement of counter argument. So, if somebody is putting a counter argument, acknowledging it means understanding their perspective and saying why they are correct. If somebody say technology is bad, so might be that person is not using it for learning, just like how you guys are doing. They are just using it to scroll on phones or watching random videos. But technology is good. It depends upon the use. So you have to acknowledge the perspective they mention. You have to use persuasive language to convince other. You have to talk about the facts, examples, and expert opinion as a support. So main claim, technology is good. Why it is good? If somebody is saying it's bad, why they might be saying it bad, and then giving your point that how you are going to persuade them to convince your point with some facts or example. Next is, now let's it's a we I am going to give you one question for this. That is, give one argument for why government should invest in space exploration. I hope you all know the word space exploration. Yes. If you have any questions, you can definitely feel free to chat here. I am there on the chat. Yes, I'm in between classes, in between the session, I'm checking the chats as well. If I'm taking time to respond, please excuse me because while I'm speaking, I can't read the chat. But yes, I'm checking. Till the time you guys type answer to this question. I'll quickly type the chat. So I'll check the chat. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Yes, Amal, O level IGCSE, I would say it's similar. But if you want to compare the curriculum, you can simply download IGCSE Global Perspective syllabus for Cambridge curriculum for IGCSE and compare it with the O level curriculum. Yes. All right. It's quite similar. I would say 80%. But again, if you want exact comparison, you can download both the syllabuses and compare them. Alright guys, I got few answers. Now moving on to the next point, but what I will show you right now is going to be an eye opener for you all when we talk about arguments. Okay. So as I said, learners, I might not immediately reply to your chats, but yes, I check them in between classes because while I teach, I'm not able to see. Yeah. All right, so now let's look at one sample answer for this. Okay, I think I've stopped sharing. All right, here it is. All right. So government should invest in space exploration because it drives technological innovation that benefits society. Many everyday technologies like global GPS, weather forecasting, and medical devices were developed through space research, improving people's life and creating economic opportunities. Now, here, when we talk about any strong argument, they have a clear position. Clear position in as in why and the reason to support that why. So, government should invest in space exploration. That is a position. Yes, they should. Why they should? Because it drives technological innovation that benefits society and then real world benefits. Like many everyday technologies like GPS, weather forecasting, and medical devices are developed through space research and improving people's life and creating economic opportunities. All right. So that is all about your how to answer the question. I hope you all can see. Okay, guys, I hope you all can see my screen. I can see myself over here. If you can't see my screen, please let me know. Okay, yes, I can see myself in other device as well. Perfect. So now moving on to the next word, next global perspective vocabulary, that is bias. Now, bias, I personally feel it's the most easy word to understand. When I say something is biased, means you are supporting a point for your personal strong opinion. You are strongly opinionated towards, you're slightly more inclined towards a particular perspective because of your personal interest. It could be vested interest. So bias means unfair presence, how information is presented or interpreted. So now here you don't have any evidence to support bias. You have to understand this thing. You don't have any evidence and still you are supporting a particular point. You don't have significant data, facts, numbers to back whatever you are saying. That is bias. Authors might ignore evidence that contradicts a belief. Cultural, political, or personal backgrounds influence perspectives. Guys, in between the class, I'm trying to switch. I lost connections and all of that. So please ignore that part. You have to still make sure you are there. I am there in the class. So be there. Okay. If there's technological issues I'm facing, technical issues, so just ignore it and focus. Stakeholders promote their own interests and overbalance you. Now, let me give you one question for bias. Identify one type of bias that might be present in a new news report about climate change written by an oil company. Very good question. So the company is oil company and they are writing about climate change. So do you think they will support it, or do you think they will throw some light on the climate change or global issues, global warming issues by an oil company? Obviously, no. They will be biased because they are earning a lot of profits, right? They are oil companies, so they are going to earn profits, and they are definitely going to make sure that they are not making any statement which is not with respect to what supports their profit. Quickly write one type of bias. Just write down in the chat what is the bias that you feel will be there in IG, might be present in a news report about climate change written by an oil company. Okay, so I have pinned two messages alongside when you're writing the answers in the chat. I have pinned two things. One is your Google Classroom link, and the other, yeah. Okay, I have pinned the link to join past paper discussion sessions, which happens every Saturday. Okay, today is our first class. I can see so many people joining now. So, all those who have joined just now, please note this is a serious discussion, or rather, power class happening for global perspective for the students who are going to appear in 2027. For all those who wants to get an A star in global perspective, it happens every Tuesday 6 p.m. and for the past paper discussion happens every Saturday. And to join past paper discussion, I have already pinned the link here in the chat. You can click there. Basically, the members of my YouTube channel can join. I want to get some seriousness from your. Okay, yes, Ambika Gupta has written the carbon emissions around the world are not just due due to burning. Amazing. Yes, you have talked about carbon emissions around the world are not just due to burning fossil fuels is one type of bias an oil company might have. Yes, very good. I'm getting good answers. I love the way you guys are responding. Okay, amazing. So, yes. So now let's look at one example for bias. How sample answer can look like. Oil company might show commercial bias by downplaying the negative effects of fossil fuels on carbon on climate change. I would say Ambika, pat on your back for the answer. Very good answer. They could emphasize economic benefits of oil while ignoring environmental damage to protect their business interest. Now, when we say bias identification, when you're identifying any bias, what you should do is what kind of bias it is. Now, here, if somebody is talking, let's say, if a food charity company is talking about rising hunger in the world population, so obviously they are a food charity NGO and they will focus on rising hunger. So the stats and the data provided by them might be slightly exaggerated. How it affects the information, that's what I talked about. It might be, and why? Because they want more donations for food charity. Okay, so that is what is called as bias identification. That is type of bias, how it affects the information, why it happens, so on and so forth. All right. Now the next thing is we are going to look at the next word, which is cause. Yeah. This word was again given in your global perspective, in your Google Classroom. This is from the assignment. If you have not completed, first time it's okay. Henceforth, I want each one of you to make sure your assignments are done before you join my classes. Otherwise, skip joining the classes. It's of no use for you because you will not be able to understand what's happening in the class. And assignments are uploaded on Google Classroom. I'll share the link in the chat. I'll paste it wherever I can on YouTube. Okay, even in the description, I'll paste it. All right. So cause means the reason or factors that make something happen in global issue. Root causes explain why problem exists. For example, poverty, inequality, conflicts. Immediate cause. So root cause, immediate cause, multiple cause, and for you need to understand causes that helps develop effective solution. Causes can be economic, social, political, environmental, or cultural. And as a global perspective learner, it's crucially important for you to distinguish causes from effects. It's very, very important. So now you might have understood it partially. Please don't worry. You will be building up on your skill. If whatever strategies we are going to use in the class is just the beginning, whatever sentences you can write, it's accepted. But for me, it's important to understand who all are participating in the classes. I can see Amal and Ambika there actively in the class today, and I'm going to make sure they get an A star. If they are responsive, you will get an A star because it is a conversation. It is interactive class basically. So yeah, quickly give one cause of water scarcity in developing country. So you have to just give me one cause. It can be a root cause, immediate cause, whichever kind of cause in developing countries. Yeah, so in between. Yes, Ambika has replied unjustified and unconscious usage of water. Amazing. But Ambika, you have to think from a developing country's point of view. The point that you gave right now, unjustified and unconscious, that could be that is applicable to a developed country also. So you have to talk about developing country. Think about it. What is the difference between developing and undeveloping countries, which can affect the cause of water scarcity? Okay, so water pollution by industry is very good, not controlled well. Maybe government is not proactive enough, or maybe infrastructure is not great. You are very close to the most to the answer that I have written. Okay, so you can see it on the screen. Let's see. Lack of infrastructure is a major cause of water scarcity in developing countries. So Ambika, you are getting the gist of what's happening. But now we will build upon how to phrase it well so that you are able to write well. So you are understanding the concepts really well. Amazing. So lack of shloka, overpopulation. Yes, very good. Overpopulation could be one of the reason, or rather, I would say not a great civic sense. Also, is also one of the reason for water not using water very well. So, yeah, lack of infrastructure is a major cause of water scarcity in developing countries. Many areas don't have proper water treatment plants or distribution systems to provide clean water to communities. Yes, slum areas, Ambika, very good. So now if you notice, even what you guys have written, you have just noted down the point. But I'm really happy. This is the just the first class of 2026. But the responses I'm getting, you guys are at least you have the thought process on the right track. Now we need to focus on building the structure of the sentence. So whenever you have to write a good cause, it should also always talk about specific reason and explains how it leads to the problem. So you talked about slum areas, that is the reason, and how it is leading to the problem of water shortage. That you should talk about. If you're talking about overpopulation sloka, in that case also specific reason and how it is leading to the problem. I hope I'm clear. Yeah. Give me a thumbs up quickly if you can, if you got the gist of what I'm saying right now. And that takes me to the next word, that is claim. So when I say claim, claim means a statement or assertion about global issue that presents a specific viewpoint or position. So somebody is saying, I feel this is right. That is a claim. Why may or may not be supported by evidence. Claim, not necessarily you give evidence. Now tell me, what is the difference between claim and an argument? Argument and claim both say it supports a particular point, but argument always gives some evidence to back it up, and claim may or may not support by the it may or may not be supported by evidence. It can be disputed or challenged by others. Okay, forms the basis of arguments and debates. It needs to be evaluated for accuracy and reliability. So you cannot trust all the claims made by anybody, because you need to think about the credibility, you need to think about the authenticity. A blogger who is claiming that you should drink this type of tea and to lose weight, do you think that claim can be trusted blindly? Let me know. You might come across such posts very frequently on social media. No, it cannot, because that person's credibility. Are they certified to give nutritional advice? No. Check their credibility. Just randomly saying things, especially related to health and consumption of any kind of food, is not to be done by uncertified people. Okay, and what is the certificate that they have? Is that certificate authentic enough to trust that claim? That you needs to understand. That you need to understand. Yes, very good. So identify one claim made about renewable energy. I want you to just hypothetically think about one claim, and the whole idea of you answering this is in the chat for me to understand whether you are understanding these words that I'm talking about. Okay, to join my past paper classes, you can click on the join button over there, because only the members can join past paper classes, which is IGCSE GP stalwarts, wherein we discuss the past papers, we discuss all the assignments that I'll be uploading on Google Classroom. So you can click on the join button right here to join that thing. It will be this Saturday. This Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Every Saturday it happens, and in case if you miss and if you're a member, you will be able to see the recordings as well. But I will recommend you to join it, and if you're joining it, please be live, because then I'll be able to actually interact with you. Okay, now let's try. Let's look at the answer. The source claims that solar energy is now cheaper than fossil fuels in most countries. And this statement presents renewable energy as economically competitive with traditional energy sources. Now, this is just a sample answer, and if you notice, if you understand what the answer is talking about, it is stating what is being asserted, what is being claimed, and it explains what it means. So, when you have to just explain the claim, you have to talk about what's being said and explain in simple terms. Rather, I would say use few relevant examples in short to explain it. Then the next part is consequences. The next word is consequence. Very frequently used word in global perspective. IR, written paper, team project, everywhere. So consequence means the result or effect that happens because of global issues or actions. Short-term consequences happen immediately or soon after. Long-term may take time. Intended consequences are planned and expected outcomes. Unintended consequences are unexpected side effects, and so on and so forth. So in short, Consequence is the result of any action that's taken place. That's all. So explain one consequence of deforestation for local communities. Come on. I want to see your answers in the chat. What can you write for the consequence? All right. So when we talk about consequence, let's now look at the answer over here for the consequence. One consequence of deforestation is loss of livelihood for local communities who depend on forest. Many people lose their jobs in logging, hunting, or collecting forest products, leading to increased poverty and forcing families to move to cities to find work. So when we talk about good consequences, what you need to write in your answers, you need to talk about what happens, who it affects, further impact, explain. Now, please understand this is just the starting first class wherein I'm just trying to build on your understanding of different words. I will be gradually also helping you to structure your sentences to paragraph in alignment with global perspective, written paper, individual report, and team project. So it's crucially important to be consistent, to be focused, and mark it in your calendars to join at 6 p.m. every Tuesday for my sessions so that you actually see significant growth in your results. Okay. So next word is context. When I say context, it means the background information and circumstance that help explain the global issues. Now, I have used this word context many number of times in today's class. Why? I was trying to say that, okay, this word in context to global perspective means with respect to global perspectives means that. But if you actually go online and try to find out the definition of that word, it is a different definition. So it helps explain global issues. Understanding context helps interpret information accurately. Without context, the facts can be misleading or incomplete. Now let me take you to the question. Using evidence from the source, explain the context of water disputes in Middle East. Now here I have not given you the source, but you just understand, you already know there are water dispute, there is water dispute in Middle East and why. Just give me the context. That's all. I want to understand if you have understood the word correctly. That is very important for me. So you can answer in the chat for the same. All right, so let's have a look at one of the sample answer. The context include regions, arid climate with limited fresh water resources. Historical conflicts over territory have made water sharing difficult between countries. Growing population and economic development increase water demand while climate change reduces rainfall, creating competition for scarce water supplies. A good context is always multiple background factors plus how they connect with each other and why they matter. This is the formula to write a very good context. Now, corroboration. Corroboration, a new word for y'all. Now, when I say corroboration, it means finding multiple sources that supports the same information. Independent sources confirm the same facts or claim. Cross-referencing strengthens reliability of information. Multiple perspective provided fuller picture of issue. So when there are two articles which are being compared, which confirms the same factor, it is called as corroboration. And lack of corroboration. Let's say I'm reading three different articles, three different authentic and credible articles, and I am not able to relate the point, or I'm not able to get the same facts or claim in all the three. That means it's not a reliable information. It's basically cross referencing, corroboration. So, how far do source B and C corroborate the information in the source A about poverty levels? That is one question, one type of question that can be asked in global perspective paper. I don't expect you all to write an answer for this because you need to have a look at the source, but just to understand the context of this word, I have put in this question. Now, let's look at one sample answer. Source B and C partially corroborate source A. All three sources agree that poverty has increased in urban areas over the past decade. However, source A claims poverty affects 40% of the population, while source B suggests 35%, and source C provides no specific statistics, limiting full corroboration of the exact figure. Now, when I say corroboration, it shows what agrees, what differs, and overall assessment of support. Okay, the next word is course of action. Okay guys, we are almost there, just a couple of more minutes and we'll be done with the class. 2 3 words left, I think. Yeah, 2 words left. Okay, so yeah, course of action, it talks about strategic plan to solve problems or to achieve goals. Course of action can be short term or long term. Means what actions you are taking to achieve certain goal, that is course of action. Course of action can have multiple stakeholders. Okay, so evaluate a course of action to reduce youth employment in developing countries. Now this is an 8-mark question, so you need not answer in the chat. Just try to understand how this word course of action is used in your question. Okay, so one sample answer is, one effective course of action is expanding vocational training programs linked to local industries. This would give governments partnering with businesses to identify skill gaps, developing practical training course, and providing job placement support. The advantages include creating relevant skills and direct employment pathways. However, this requires significant investment and may not address broader economic problems that limit job creation overall. And that is course of action plus specific plan plus steps involved plus evaluation of pros and cons. Now that takes me to the last word of today's session, that is evaluate. When I say evaluate, it means to make a balanced judgment, to weigh the pros as well as the cons, the strengths as well as the weakness. Understand the word evaluate is always linked to giving specific numerical answer. Means you have to weigh things, you have to numerically justify things. Sorry, not numerically, to quantify things rather. The right word is quantification. So evaluate means quantification of things, weighing strengths and weaknesses of arguments or solution, considering multiple perspective is evaluation. Assessing effectiveness, feasibility, and impact, using evidence to support judgment. Now, when I say evaluate the effectiveness of international aid in reducing poverty, means you are going to weigh both the options. And let me just show you the sample answer. International aid has shown mixed effectiveness in reducing poverty. On the positive sides, emergency aid saves lives during disaster and health programs having reduced disease like malaria. However, long-term dependency can weaken local economies, and corruption often prevents aid from reaching to the most in need. The most effective aid focus on education and infrastructure that builds local capacity. Overall, aid works best when combined with good governance and local ownership of development programs. Now, what you have to notice over here, evaluation is equals to positives, negatives, evidence, balance, conclusion. That is what are the four most important components of evaluation. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Whatever we discussed today is just the beginning. We are just going to understand what each words means. So, when you see these words in your GP, question paper, source, material insert, and all of that next time, you at least know the context of those words and you are hence able to interpret the questions well. Now, I'm ending today's class by the assignment, which I'm going to upload on your Google Classroom in next uh, 20 to 30 minutes. And the uploaded assignment will be discussed before on this Saturday's past paper practice session. If you want to join Saturday's past paper practice session, you have to hit that join button and join and become the member of this YouTube channel. You'll get all the notification about it. It is live, but yes, you can also view the recordings of these sessions. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's class. And one last statement I would like to say: please note these sessions are very serious classes conducted on my YouTube channel for global perspective students appearing for exams in 2027, and I want serious participation from you all. Hence, I have created Google Classroom to track what kind of assignments do you do, how you write, and everything else. So, mark your calendars every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to join these sessions. Until then, take care. Bye bye.